running out of time, anub'arak. How far are we from the exit?
Not far. We have entered the upper kingdom. The exit should lead us to the base of the glacier itself. However, there are still hidden traps and pitfalls to account for.
Take cover! Yes. The entire passage collapsed. There's no time to dig through this. I'll have to move quickly and find my own way out. Hopefully anub'arak and the others survived. What is it now? Frostborn hungers. Faithless coward. Finally.
Inventory is full.
I'll be singed if I get too close to those flames. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. Ah, at last. I'll need this gold for when I reach the glacier. Ah, at last. Finally, more of the Nerubian's blasted mechanisms. I'll have to time this perfectly. Ah, at last. Frostborn hungers. This is more like it. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. Faithless coward. Another quake? Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Frostborn hungers. Finally. Ah, at last. Frostborn hungers. You will know endless. Finally. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostborn hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. Faithless coward. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Your pain shall be legendary. You will know endless torment. Frostborn hungers. Faithless coward. Finally. For the Lich King. Now, Frostborn. Ah, at last. Faithless coward. Your pain shall be legendary. You will know endless torment. For the Lich King. Now, Frostborn. Finally. Ah, at last. Faithless coward. This is more like it. Now, Frostborn. Your pain shall be legendary. You will know endless torment. Frostborn hunger. Now, Frostborn. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Ah, at last. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Tread lightly. Finally. Ah, at last.
Is full.
Finally. Frostborn. I must find a way across this strange obstacle. This is more like it. . Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Speak, fool. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
Your pain shall be legendary.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last.
Now, Frostmourne.
Finally. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last.
Anub'arak, you made it.
I see now why the Lich King chose you as his champion, Death Knight. Few men could have survived this labyrinth alone. Time is fleeting.
Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers.
Another earthquake. We must hurry, Death Knight.
Like it. Finally. Ah, at last.
Something's breaking through. Defensive positions!
Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Now, Frostmourne. Finally.
By Raid.
Speak, fool.
Faithless coward. You will end this trial.
At last. This is more like it.
We're running out of time. We must find the exit.
Your pain shall be legendary.
This is more like it. Finally.
More gold. This might help us later.
Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
They're blocking the way to the exit. We'll have to fight our way through them to reach it.
At last. Finally. At last.
Inventory is full.
This is more like it.
Inventory is full. Your pain shall be legendary.
I'll consume the living and the dead.
At last.
Faithless coward.
Frostmourne hungers.
I serve only the frozen throne. Indubitably.
What is it now? This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last.
Now quickly, head through that door. The exit to the surface lies just beyond.
It'll be good to see the sun again.
Remember, Illidan and the true battle still await us in the world above. Hopefully our trek through the Dark Earth brought us the precious time we needed.